Hello and welcome to the Soul Sync podcast. It's me, Jason Paul. Now, the day just before recording this episode, I had my first ever platform experience, platform mediumship experience, because as you will know from the very start of this podcast, I have been on a journey understanding, what life and death is, what mediumship is. When I came into this, I was looking for evidence, proof of the spirit world. And on the Sunday just gone, so yesterday at the time of this recording, I went forward on a Zoom event in a platform kind of style experience, a service, you could say. And I brought through messages from two individuals from the spirit world, and I learned so much from that. And I was filled with nerves all day. And I then did this conversation the next day, and so many pennies for me dropped all of a sudden as a result of this conversation, because through developing our mediumship and through, whatever you're doing with the spirit world, it's a very personal journey. So, in the early days, I think what a lot of us experience is we'll find other people who are unfolding their gifts. They'll be saying they're getting one thing, you'll be getting another. You'll be questioning yourself about, are you good enough? Having questions about, why are they getting this relationship with their guide? Why am I getting this experience over here? So me and this next guest, Charlie Kelly, who's been on the podcast before, he's well known for doing a lot of mediumship, but I first came across Charlie from his videos on YouTube, and on his channel he speaks very candidly about how to develop your mediumship, and we spoke about both of our journeys through mediumship. And this episode had a big impact on me, so much so that I had a lot of pennies drop in my own mind as a result of the conversation, so much so that in the last 2 days I've done 2 readings, put some of what Charlie said into practice in my own way, and my mediumship is just like, whew, this feels like it's turned a corner. I've been overcomplicating it for too long. The spirit world give me one thing, I try to interpret it. At the end of the day, you don't know someone's stories, so don't even try and work it out or place it. But it's very hard with things because normally we go straight to our mind in every other aspect of our life. So the simplicity of it is still what makes it so tricky at times, but it's simple, and that's what we talk about on this episode. Oh, I'm so excited to say this. I really am so excited. I know I say this a lot, but especially so this time. Charlie Kelly, welcome back to the Soul Sync.
Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute delight, and it's lovely to have you back, because it feels like it's been a long time, but not at the same time. But maybe I'm kind of measuring that against my own mediumship development. I don't know, or working in dog years. But, last time you came on, I think I was at a place in my own development where I probably had more questions than answers. And in some ways, I still feel like I've got that. But I had an interesting moment last night because I did my first bit of platform mediumship. So it was nice. Oh, Charlie, it was terrifying. And I've been on edge. I could not have been in a more spiritual place all weekend because I've been on the edge of my seat. And I went into it. It was on Zoom, and I was the last person to read. And it made me really aware of my own mediumship. First contact, very strong. I kind of felt it. But the second contact could have been a bit better. I moved out the energy, got lost a bit in the
audience
sitters, and then I couldn't whittle the hands down enough, and I just kept getting free hands. And by this point, Charlie, I'd said, right, I've got a woman who's given me a unique story where she's essentially used her handbag as a weapon and beaten someone with it, and I've still had 3 people with their hands up. So it was, and well, do you know what? And afterwards, when I was sat there, I was thinking to myself, beating myself up a bit, I could have done better in the second contact. Then the next morning I wake up and the woman said it's the most meaningful reading she's ever had.
That will always happen as well. You just got to get used to it. You just got to get used to it. I think you'll do that a lot. I think what you'll think is good, the client will go, yeah, it was all right. And what
it happens a lot for me.
Yeah, what you think's rubbish, they're like, life changing. You saved my life. So yeah, it's just I think our measure is very negative set. So we're always looking for flaw or mistake, and where could it have gone better? And we do very quickly brush off the good bits that we do, because we're striving for perfection. Mediums tend to have the trait of the perfectionist, the controlling aspect of it, and so they're looking for this perfection that they'll never achieve. And
how did you learn to move past? Do you still feel that now?
Yeah, I just don't think it will go away. I think that's the flame, though. I think that's the flame inside you that keeps you going, because it's like you hit plateaus and you feel like you're not moving, and the flame ignites again and you move forward. But I think you just can't perfect it, because what they want is let's say their mum. They want the conversation with their mum, which you can give them. You can give them some form of essence, which you can kind of give them, but they miss the physical touch, the physical vision, which you can't give them. And so all you can do is get as close as you possibly can to do that. And they'll always want more. You could sit for 3 hours and they would want 4. You sit for 30 minutes, they want an hour. So I think I got comfortable with the idea of, I know I can't get perfection. No one's ever got perfection, but I'm out here trying. And I think that's the bit where I can kind of, because the critique's so heavy, isn't it? It's like if you have a really bad one, you're stockpiling Ben and Jerry's, aren't you? And you're having
I'm not feeling good afterwards. Yeah,
that's it.
Feeling rotten.
Exactly, and it's duvet day. The curtains are shut, and you're watching rubbish TV because you are down. And it's just one of those. I think we are so imbalanced in the critique, the self-sabotage of self. So you'll do a 96% good reading, and your focus will be the 4% that you messed up. At no point do you offset it and go, well, I did something half decent, so I can work on that. But I did something half decent. We're just like, I messed it up. I've ruined it. I'm a failure. I need to give up. So
it's like that.
It really is.
Do you know, the thing is, I don't look at being a medium as something I want to do. I feel like it's something I have to do. I feel like it's like a calling I have within me.
I agree with that as well.
Well, I'm not at a point where I'm excited to work for the spirit and to be a channel, but I'm not seeking out readings, because I only think to myself, I don't think I could do more than 4 in a week at the moment, because it's the built-up stress.
Yeah, it kills you, the build-up, the anxiety that goes with it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. I feel if I express it slightly differently, is that you stumble across something so life-changing. Like I don't even recognize myself from 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago, and mind-blowing at 15 years ago. I have changed as an individual. And that's because of the spirit world that I found along the way. And it almost feels a little bit selfish not to go, do you know about this? Have you seen this? This changes your life. And I think that's that calling inside, is like, you need to show people this is here. And that's my motivation. It's like, do you remember at school when we were kids and you'd go in and you'd have that day where it's like show and tell, and you bring it, it's kind of like a grown-up show and tell for me. It's like, oh my God, there's a man here.
I can see that, because a lot of the reasons I'm developing mine is for that very reason, because I came to mediumship because my granddad was a medium. I can't get away from that fact. That was what drew me in. But it drew me in from the perspective that I felt bloody miserable in my life, because I just couldn't understand what is the point of birth and death. And I felt, look, everyone around me was saying, you are successful. I was thinking, I don't bloody feel like it. So that was what sort of brought me into it. And how would you say it's changed you in that time? I know you probably too long to even sit here and talk about, but I'm interested to know how it's changed you.
Because my upbringing was one that was kind of self-sufficient. You know, I had alcoholic parents, but like I don't complain or moan about them in any sense. It gave me a streetwise attitude. I had to look after my kind of self, you know. But the people I was surrounded with were not a spiritual bone in their body. You know, it was council estate, it was rough times. And so trusting anyone, I was well into my late 20s, maybe early 30s, before I realized that there are some nice people here. And so then I get into the spiritual community, and naively you go into the spiritual community. Everything's love and light now. Now you're trusting people you shouldn't be trusting. And so you get your fingers burnt on another time, and then you whittle it all down. And like my judge of character now, I don't react to situations the way I did before. It's not a personal attack. It's just you don't know the day they're having or what their story's about. And I'm not reacting from an ego standpoint or an aggressive standpoint. But I remember the time when I would react from an ego standpoint or an aggressive. What are they after? What do they want? Why are they being nice? Why are they being kind? They're after something. So and now I'm not like that at all. So it's a massive change for me.
It's interesting what you say about spirituality and it not being all good. You kind of go, I remember going through that phase. When you're saying this, it's almost like, yeah, okay, I've been there. Yeah, okay, I can recognize that. Well, you can. But isn't it interesting? Because I've started thinking, and I had a trailer thought recently where I felt to myself, why did I not discover the spirit world earlier and believe in it earlier? If I'd known the potential of, you know, the fact I'm a limitless being at 18, you know, I'd be further ahead. But I thought it came to me and I thought, no, that's because you had to learn the hard lessons along the way. You had to experience what you experienced. Yeah. And I very much feel that's like you, Charlie.
I the way I describe that is that I was running wild, mate, at 18. Oh my God.
I could almost, I feel it in you. Yeah, I could imagine.
I was running wild. And I had no reason to look for a God. I had no reason to. And then tragedy hit the family, and then the question was asked, and it kind of marinated over like a decade, and it just got worse. That you know, what is that? Why are we here? Where do they go? What happens? And it just chewed me up, and so I was like, no, I'm going to look into it. And then I looked into it. So I think I didn't need a God at that point. My life changed enough that made me ask the question of a God, whatever terminology you need there. I'm going to use God.
Well, it's similar to even what it's making me feel about my granddad. Why did I not ask him about his mediumship or any questions whatsoever about the spirit world, really? Because I wasn't bothered by death then. And the first time I had grief was when he died. And then I hadn't asked him any of the questions. So I could... Well, it was almost like...
You feel immortal at 18, though, don't you? You feel like nothing can harm you. So
you do.
Now I cough and I put my back out. Do you know what I mean? It's like, Jesus Christ. I'm not immortal anymore.
You're not. Well, you start realizing when you get to a certain age, and I think, you know, that's very much how I kind of feel about it as well. I kind of got drawn in. What is it? So you've been doing this now for a very long time.
It's like 17 years now.
Well, you're starting to be getting to the point where it's over half your life soon. If you know, at that point.
Yeah.
What do you find that you're still developing at them? Because you never stop developing, do you? It's just an ongoing thing.
I don't think you do. I don't think you stop developing at all. I think I'm always striving for the perfection. So I'm someone that I'm an advocate for the intelligence of the spirit world. And if, you know, like if your granddad's coming through to have a communication, I want to get beyond like the size of his shoes or, you know, whatever. I want to go straight into the nuts and bolts. So your granddad wants me to say blah. And you know, in those opening sentences, like, oh my God, that is definitely him. So I refer to that as layering. So it's information, communication, layer, which would offer the depth, the nuts and bolts. Bang, gotcha. Now we can get on with it. That's what I've been developing that for a while now. So,
and when you say layering, what does that look like?
Layering looks like, because a lot of mediums, I don't want to offend anyone, but mediums love the sound.
Oh, you won't offend anyone here, Charlie. I can assure you that.
They love the sound of their own voice. They don't shut up. And so there's no validation. So, and then what I mean is you could say to someone, so I've got an old lady that wants to come step forward as I connect to the spirit world, whatever the terminology is nowadays. And she's showing me collecting truffles in the garden with her pig. She dresses this pig up and she loves her pig. And you'd understand that your nan smoked. And then they get validation there. And so the client says, yes, my nan smokes. But the audience believes that she's got this pig that's getting truffles in the garden. And so layering is validation every step of the way. So I've got a man, this, and this. You understand this man? Yes. And then from that point onwards, everything is validated, which is a layer upon a layer. So it should, if done correctly, and I'm surrendering my mind enough, they should give me enough of a block for like 6, 7, 8 statements that tells its own story. Now, what I mean by that is I don't need to know the story. I don't need to understand the story. I don't even need to know how and when they go together. The client knows that information, but they will say yes all the way through. So it'll be yes, yes, yes. So layer, 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 layer. And just through certainly the last 5 years, I can't get away from it. They're waiting at the car. And they're like, I just want to tell you. And then they're telling me about what was said, and they just want to share the story, and they're excited. They're pleased their mum, their dad, or whatever turned up. But every time they do that, I see how the spirit world operated, and I'm grateful that I could suppress myself to not judge it, work it out, understand it, which took a little bit of learning because I was told the other way.
Well, do you know what? I've never heard anyone describe it like that. How would I describe my mediumship at the moment? I'd love to be having layer upon layer upon layer of green lights and yeses. I'm certainly not getting layers upon layer. Maybe I'm again. I'm big hard on myself, aren't I? But how do I even explain what goes on? Because it's also personal, isn't it? When a spirit person comes through for me at the moment, I sort of feel it. I know things, and I feel like they just keep giving me images, but it's really obscure images where at first I was taking them as face value. Whereas last night I did a reading, and do you ever watch Coronation Street?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a character from 20 years ago that they imprinted in my mind, but I knew not to read it too literally. But I feel like my mediumship at the moment, Charlie, is just like bloody chaos at times.
Yeah,
I'm sort of getting bits and pieces of all sorts.
I think growing in the comfort of the chaos, in the clunky, in the messy, I think growing comfortable there is a really good thing. So I know you from a podcast. And I can kind of maybe work out you're into literature. You got a little fish tank going on there. You got the audio. So I'm starting to build context of who you are, but only by a very limited surrounding that I can see you. So you'll flip them headphones off. You'll turn the mic off. You'll leave your little room and you'll go about your evening. And I don't know what that consists of. I lack context. Now I'm working with a man that wants to talk to you. And I have zero context. I know nothing about them. I know nothing about you. And what mediums are trying to do is they're trying to control the situation in understanding what this man wants to say to you, even though they don't know him, and give it to you in a way that's going to be heard, that the medium understands the statement that they're giving, but without the context of you. And so they're trying to control 2 points in a 3-point triangle where they have zero context. And so what mediums are doing is they're saying the statement through the lens of life that I have experienced. So I am saying the statement that I'm comfortable saying because I get it, I understand it, I know where you're going with it, through my story, which is not your story. We'll have similar school journeys or bits, but other than that, we're probably very little in common. So the context or the judgment of the value of the statement that I'm receiving to give to you is a mile off. I don't get it. So you may be an emotional individual. And so then the information's coming through where I don't really like emotion. And so
I am very emotional as a medium. I'm always getting the emotion of it.
yeah.
First.
So I'm gonna be like, whoa, emotion, back off.
I can't say I'm pleased about it, Charlie, but that's the way it's happening for me, if I'm honest.
You embrace it, whereas you're embracing
Well, I do,
it.
yes. I do, yes.
So it's so different. And so I just got comfortable with, without it sounding really, really cold, is not caring. I don't care what this guy wants to say to you. I don't care. What I care about is being an ambassador and being the cleanest and purest voice that I can be for this man. And for me to do that, I can't judge it. I have no context, so I can't vet it. And so all I can do is give it in its simplistic of form. And when I do that, when I'm able to keep myself out of it, the whole way through, you'll be going, yep, yep, yep.
We'll be right back.
Hello there, Soul Sink. It's me. I interrupt this episode for just a moment to ask if you find this podcast at all helpful, please leave a review on the platform where you listen to them. It helps other people to find it, and it means the world to me. Now, enjoy your episode. And you say something very interesting there. Keeping oneself out the way.
Well, it's like you go to Starbucks. Is the community all right? Like, have you got like a variety of community? Like, are they?
Oh, we got all sorts on here, Charlie. We're a right old ensemble.
Yeah. Okay. So you go. You're in a bit of a rush, and you go into Starbucks. There are other coffee shops available, so don't sort of hate me in the comments. It's just a globally recognised one. You go in, and you ask for your latte or whatever, and you can see the young lad or the young woman the other side is getting it ready, but they're a little bit stroppy. They've had a bit of a rough life, and you don't care. I want my coffee. I've paid for my coffee. Hurry up with the coffee. Now, they could be chatting or whatever, and you're building in frustration, and I'm in a rush, hurry up. Give me my coffee. And then you
now,
get coffee and you go,
I'm thirsty.
Yeah. But at no point have you considered, like, I wonder how their day is. I wonder how many people they've approached like me. Now, mediums haven't got that awareness about themselves. They think they're important, mediums. When I'm paying you for a reading with my mum, I don't give a shit if you've had a bad night. I don't care if you're having a bit of a rough ride. I don't give a shit what's going on in your life. I've paid you for a communication with my mum. And mediums have got this heavily diluted aspect of that I think, like, I care about you as a medium when I'm paying for communication with my mum, when the reality is you're irrelevant. You're just the voice, and you're the first one that I saw on the internet. You're the first one in my spiritual church, my local spiritual church. But what goes on in your life, I don't care, mate. I miss my mum. I want a conversation with my mum, and mediums have got a little bit wrapped up in that, and so we need to understand, like, they don't care. So my job is to adjust accordingly to the person that's entered the room, whether I need a softer energy, whether I need a firmer energy to do the communication. But they don't care what I did, like before the read, after the read, last week, the night I've had. Did I sleep well? Are you well nourished, mate? They're not thinking like that. They just like I just want to hear from my mum. And so that was a big turning point for me when I realised I am the main character in my movie, but I am barely an extra in yours. Barely. And so the value of that is I stopped being offended. Because in your movie, I'm an irritant, I'm an annoyance, I'm fun, I'm whatever, and then I leave. And then you're the main character and the camera's following you around in your movie. in the medium's mind, I'm relevant in my movie, your movie, their movie, the spirit world's movie, and now everything's ever so personal. And I feel attacked, and I feel insignificant and I feel like you all hate me, and they don't care. They don't care. Like, I care about Jason today because I had to meet him at 6 o'clock to do a podcast. But after the podcast, I've got another appointment with another individual, and then they'll become important.
You make it sound really easy. And, you know, I guess that's the thing when you've been doing it for as long as you have. I can't imagine how many lessons you've had to learn along the way. But
a lot.
You're right. Yeah. Well, there's so many points to almost unravel there. You know, yes, you know, the medium doesn't matter in this. All that matters is the communication, but there's so much ego that gets wrapped up in this.
But that's like that. We can springboard into another area there. You know, mediums developing and mediums doing. And I remember my own frustration and my own plateaus, and like, I'm not moving, I'm not growing, I'm not doing anything. But then I would turn up and I'd be like, right, I need to know who you are. Who are you to this individual? And how did you pass? And what's your job? And I want to know, and I want to understand, and I'm not getting it. And so then I sat down, I was like, am I in service? Because that don't sound like fucking service, mate. That sounds like I'm a demanding, spoilt little brat. And I want. And then when I don't get what I want, I have a hissy fit like I was when I was 5 years old in the aisle because mum wouldn't let me have chocolate. And then I realised, like, service is just turning up. And this is what I have to do. I am the third point of a 3-point triangle in value. And I've just got to do what they're asking me to do. They're asking me to talk about this. Whether I think it's boring, whether I think it's controversial, whether I think it's offensive, whether I think, does not matter. The service is just do that. And I'm like, cool, I'll just do that. So that's like you entering my office space and saying, Jason, can you move that box from there to there for me, please? I'll go make tea. And what mediums are doing right now is they'll go, why? What's in the box? And you're like, well, it don't matter what's in the box. I just need it moved to there. And you're like, well, I'll only move the box if you tell me what's in the box. And then I tell you what's in the box just to get the box moved. And then you go, why'd you do that? Why'd you buy that? What have you got that for? And you're like, geez, Jason, I'll do it myself. I'll move the box myself. And that's kind of where I realised maybe I'm not doing this right. If I'm in service, genuine service, I need to talk to people that maybe I wouldn't talk to in Starbucks, that maybe I wouldn't spend time with in the evening in my private life. But it's not about me. It's about your lovely mum, your lovely dad, your grandparents, your brother, your sister, your partner. It's about them, and they want me to talk to you. And the service, the ambassador that I am, I will make that effort. And then I went.
Do you know what? It's already a beautiful. It's making me feel like that's where I want to be, because in that situation, the pressure is off you in a sense that you are just that channel. But
it also eases on the self-critique. Because what happens there is I tried my best. I turned out, I tried my best. There's nothing else I can do. And what a lot of mediums, yourself and your listeners, your subscribers, there will be so many episodes, and it's only hindsight with years and years behind me, when the client has outrightly said no to me. That's not correct. That's not right. And the amount of texts, phone calls, inboxes, DMs, emails where they go, I'm so sorry. You were right. I don't know why I said no. It is unbelievable. But by then, the damage is done. I've gone,
yes.
I'm sad. I'm miserable. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I tried. I don't know what I'm getting wrong. And the self-sabotage kicks in, and you know, the damage is already done. Or it goes the other way. You start shouting at the team. You lot, what's going on up there? Why are you giving it like that? And only to find out it was actually correct and perfectly presented. So
what I find at the moment, I'm at a stage in my mediumship, and I don't know if it's just the way my brain works, but I get a bit of evidence. I even say this evidence, something, and before I've even known it, Charlie, dunk, it's gone up to the brain. How the hell do you train yourself to stop doing that when in every other...
I don't care. I don't care. I use Carol as the example. Have you met Carol?
I've only ever had the privilege of exchanging beautiful messages with her.
Yeah. She's very, very good at admin.
She's most wonderful. I love Carol.
So every now and again, it's like she's not into much really. She's in that sense. Maybe that's why we get on. But she does like a bag. This one, she does like a bag. So I'll go away, and it'll be 18 months. And there'll be a new season out of the brand that she likes, whatever that brand is, There'll be a new season, and then I'll be like, "Come on, you've worked hard this year. Let's go. Do you want a new bag?" And she'll be like,
"It's Charlie bonus season."
Yeah, and then she'll go and get it, and then she'll go in the shop, and like, I want to stand outside and smoke a cigarette, mate. I just want to be left alone. I just want to take in the air. I couldn't care less about a bag. Could not care less.
You just want a quiet life.
Yeah, but I get dragged in there, and then I end up talking to a sales assistant. And then she'll find the blue one, the black one, the grey one, the pink one, whatever one it is. And then she'll be eyeing it up. And I already know she wants that one. That's the one that she wants. And she'll say to me, "What do you think?" And I say to her, "I don't fucking care. It's your bag. I'm not going to get to use it. I'm not going to get to... It's not mine. It's nothing to do with me." And that's how I see communication. I just don't care. So providing I'm doing everything that Mum wants me to get across, I don't care what it is, what you want to talk about or whatever. I'm just your messenger. I just see myself as the spiritual Amazon Prime driver. Here's your goods. Here they are. Now, there is bedside manner. I need to learn to deliver it with a tone or with a certain amount of emotion, a certain amount of essence, but I'm not invested Charlie into it in any way, shape or form. It's not for me. So it would be great if your partner was to come in, your friend or whatever was to come in, and there is a heated discussion right now on the podcast, I'd be here, but it's not my argument. It's not my debate. And so at the end of it, I'd be like, "Are we good? Do you need time? Do you need whatever?" But it's not mine. I'm not going to ask you what it was about. It's clearly you two, up to you two, what it is. And I just disconnect in that way. It's not mine. Like Carol with her bag. It's not my bag. I'm never going to use the bag. You may have a lovely car, mate. You may have a lovely car, but it's never going to be my car. And so I don't care. And so that's the disconnect that I have with that.
How did you get to this epiphany? I don't, because it's great. I'm going to try it because it's...
I got
not
there
bringing yourself into it, and it's clever what you're doing there.
Again, but it's like you wouldn't want me involved in your argument. You wouldn't want me sitting in your car. You wouldn't want me in, and so I just recognise that from the client's point of view, value in the exchange of monetary or whatever it is, and so. Early development, what you tend to find is that you overinvest emotionally, you overinvest in energy and time and hours and, all that kind of stuff. And you'd go home and that poor mum, that poor dad, that poor woman, that poor man, that poor child, what about that story? And so I weren't having any kind of life. I'd be sat in a room doing readings, on a stage doing dems, in a class doing teachings, then going home and thinking, that poor man, that poor woman. And so there was no Charlie left. It completely gone. And so I was like, I need a structure. I need something that allows me, because I love being an idiot, mate. If I'm ever in the company with you and you give me an opportunity to be an idiot, we'd bounce off of one another being an idiot.
I know, you'd be just the sort of person that get me in a lot of trouble very quickly.
Very quickly.
Because I can be the class clown at times as well.
But it's like, that's why people love Jason, though.
They do.
And Jason is fading away into his work, fading away into this subject, and we're losing him to this thing. And I was like, that's not the purpose to this. I need to be me, and then I need to put the uniform on of the ambassador, and then I will use my disciplines, my mechanics, my training to become the individual they need me to be. And that is service. That's
It
where
does so many things at the same time. It takes the pressure, attitude, it takes the pressure off, the expectation off, the draining off, because, people, it's heavy work, this. It's,
really
it's,
heavy. It can be really, really heavy. You tend to, what will happen is if you haven't had it yet, you'll have themes. So you'll have.
Oh, I
you'll
have actually.
You'll have a theme of mums, a theme of dads, a theme of like really difficult, a theme of like tragic, a theme of, and you're like, my God, what a week this has been. And
why do you think you get the themes? Because there's something in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's familiar. So if you've got like a young man that likes to break the law in your energy, in the spirit world, and I'm working with your energy, it's familiar to me. So I'm like, oh, there's a young guy that wants to have a word with you, but it's really normal for me. But you're into baking, you're into home life, you're into, structure, then you'll go get the people in my story in the spirit world that tick those boxes of familiar. So now what happens is I've just dealt with someone that has an addiction, alcohol, drugs, whatever, and I do the read and Jason leaves and the next client comes in and my God, there's their uncle that was an alcoholic. Now they don't want to hear from their uncle. It's just that I was just working in the vice segment of awareness. Now the uncle's walked in. It's so obvious. You've got an alcohol problem. Come in. And then he leaves. And then I've got someone's dad that was a little bit violent or abusive when he got drunk. And what do you know? He's available now. So we fall into patterns because it's familiar. The energy is familiar. And you'll find that with demonstrations, if it goes like kind of up with fun and laughter, it can take a quick turn. It's doom and gloom. And now they're all doom and gloom and the energy falls through the floor. But it's familiar. It's what you're basking in. It's that energy. So the importance of canvas cleaning within your mind, clean slate, and who's stepping forward now, and that's where the variety will kick in, and you stop the theme. So you have to be aware of the mood that you are, or the energy that you've been basking in all day. You go and watch a stand-up show, comedy, and then you catch the lunchtime show in Leicester Square, and you've got a reading at 5:00. I guarantee you'll get the funny guy in the spirit world. But
it makes sense, though.
The energy of it is familiar. It's familiar, yeah.
You wonder, everything is energy. I often wonder to myself, what is it like in the spirit world? They sort of put this intention out, almost like a telephone book. Right, I want somebody who's got that experience, that vocabulary, that, it's just crazy to think how it must work up there for them to even.
I think the biggest mistake when it comes to getting the individual for the right individual. So when you enter the room. No, I haven't really found the language to describe what it is that I'm talking about. But inside of me, in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, whatever you want to know, because I just don't know which one it is. But I am the guy that will help the guy that his tires blown out on a back road. I'll help the woman with her shopping. I just want to help. Like, I can see you struggling. Let me help. I've got the ability. Let me help. When you enter the room, and I go to the place that I call the spirit world, and I just say, who's doing this? And then I'm aware of someone, and the client always says, that's who I wanted. And what mediums are doing is they see you and then they go, right, I've got to go and get someone. And then they go and pick someone. Yeah. And they will pick what they're comfortable with. Now, what if you want to speak to someone that was not very nice? You want answers. And you want to speak to someone that weren't very nice. The medium won't find that one because that's...
Well, it's totally logical on why someone would go to a medium for that reason.
Exactly. And so as you enter the room and I go to the place that I know, I don't care for you, you don't care for me. You want the person that I really want to be in service to. So my energy says, without an intention, without words, it's my being, I really want to help you. And I'm in service to this place, the spirit world, who's doing it. Then I'm aware of, and 99 out of 100 readings, they'll go, that's who I wanted. Cool. Let's go.
I'm having a good run at the moment. I'm having all jovial, nice spirit people wanting to come through me. I think
They're
I'm having
lovely, them ones. They're lovely.
They are. I'm getting nice people at the moment. I'm on a good run. Please long may it continue. I think they're going easy on me. They know I'm on the edge, Charlie. One wrong platform appearance, and that's it. I'm out. So I'll tell you my biggest problem at the moment: trying.
Yeah. Well, it's the biggest problem in mediumship.
Yes.
If I said to you, lift that leg of yours up and show the viewers how to tie a shoelace, you'll mess
We'll
it
be
up.
here for a very long time, I tell you
You'll
that.
mess it up. And it's because you are trying step by step by step this simplicity of bow, wrap round and pull tight. And through the trying to be perfect, it'll go wrong. And so mediums go into the read and they're trying step by step by step by step, and it's absolutely going to go wrong. But if I say, tie your laces while talking to me about what you did yesterday, you'll do it subconsciously. And it'll be a good bow and it'll be absolutely fine. Now, what happens when mediums are thinking is you're above 13 hertz in the mind. You are processing, which means you are disconnecting from a communicator because they're at 13 hertz. And so if you are thinking about mediumship, what most mediums aren't doing is reconnecting with the communicator. They think, so that raises the hertz, your 15, 16, 17 hertz in process, but you forget to get the communicator back. Where's that lady? And now the lady joins me, and now you'll be all right. But most mediums miss that step. They leave the communicator to go into process and think and forget to reconnect and get the information. And that's where it'll go wrong. You're trying, and it's the trying that stops it.
Right. I'm going to prepare for a demonstration. Right. I'm going there. This is the routine. I'm going to sit and I'm going to try and up the energy a bit, in whatever way possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going out there, trying not to think, how do I know if I'm in 13 hertz? Because all of a sudden I'm thinking again, where am I standing on the, platform?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm there.
Yeah, I think the appointment got slightly changed today, didn't it? It was like 5:30, and then you were like, "No, I'm going to rush. I need to get home. I'm at work," or something like that, don't you?
Yes.
So what do you do as a job?
I recruit lawyers into law firms. So basically, I know it's very stressful. It's very stressful. But my psychic skills have been built doing that.
But are you the boss, or have you got a boss?
Depends how you look at it. Really.
Yeah. So there's
a bit of both,
right?
Charlie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So now when you go to work, it's not like on the way to work you go, right, I've got to get into work mode and I've got to be a nice man, and I've got to recruit in the right way, and I've got to do it. You just go to work. This is my work. I just turn up. Now, when I used to work, and I'd love my old bosses to see me now and to listen to the conversation, because I would have to take a breath before I went into work, because I'd be organising sites in London and, sending crews out to build that and fix that and do that. But I'd get to the gates of work and I'd have to take a breath and go, "You need the job, Charlie. Don't tell him he's a dickhead today. You need the job." And so I'd go in and I'd have to bite my lip. Like he would make silly mistakes, or there'll be clerical errors, or he didn't book that van at the right time and things like that. And the whole time I had to bite my tongue. And then I'd be like, "It's cool, let me fix it." And I'll phone the van company, I'll ring the site and I'll fix it all, and everything would run smoothly. And that's what I have to do in mediumship. That I work with some dickheads. I work with some people that are horrible, and I work with angelic people. They are beautiful human beings, or their story was that. And I've just got to bite my tongue sometimes. And I can't say the things that I want to say because I need the job. I need the job. I can't. So suppression is normal. Turning up for work and getting into gear is normal. We all do it, whether it be as a medium or as someone that works on site or someone that's recruiting lawyers. You go into work mode. You've got your structure, whether it be Monday or Friday, and you have your weekends off. Some people only work weekends, but they go into work gear straight away. As I cross the threshold of my office, as I cross the threshold of the platform, as I step onto my stage, I'm now at work, and change, and that is it. Now, I'm no different. I'm outside. I'm smoking. If I could smoke 2 cigarettes at once, mate, I would. I'm as nervous as you.
Can I say something on this point? Because and this was something I wrote down early. I'm sitting there trying to do this, trying to do that, trying to build my energy, all these things that are putting me up in my mind more and more and more. That ability, and this is something that you talk about a lot, which is just flicking the mind, which I guess is what, I'm doing that, but I'm trying to do so many other things in the process.
Yeah. Well, but you'll do it now. If there was a knock at the door right now, you'd instantly switch off a podcaster mode and you'd go to Jason at home, door's gone, and you'd go, "You all right?" And like, you'd have to wait a minute. I'm on a podcast. You'd walk back in and click straight away. Again, anything other than that is going to end in disappointment. And I've just been disappointed too many times that I recognise I've got a choice here. I can either sit up at 1 o'clock in the morning, beating myself up about it, or don't let it happen. And I don't let it happen. That's all it is. What I won't do is look to if I'm on stage at 7:30, I won't look until 7:30. So as they introduce me, your medium tonight is Charlie. And
applause, yes.
Yeah, and then I go, "Okay, are we ready?" And they go, "Yes." And then I look.
Yes. It's very, very clever what you do. And you can tell it's from years and years of doing it. But I'm going to try that because, people are overcomplicating it. They really are.
It's unbelievable how much people overcomplicate it. It's unbelievable. I honestly, I'm not joking. People are going to scoff and they'll be like, "This guy's full of shit." It's harder to go and make a cup of tea than it is to do a link. I've got to get out of the chair. I've got to go. I've got to turn the kettle on, wait. I've got to make the tea. I've got to walk to the fridge, get the milk, then come back and make the tea. And the whole time, when I make a link, if I was to make a link here, I sit here, I don't move. Right, Charlie, get in your crate. No one cares. No one wants your opinion. No one needs you to understand. So I've just got to sit and shut up like a good child. And right, what am I saying? And this is what I'm seeing, feeling, sensing, knowing. And I just talk. And then I get a lot of people going, yeah. And I'm like, cool, now what? And then I say it again, cool, now what? That's all I do. Then it finishes. Then I want to get out. I want to go home.
Do you feel that this layering structured approach that you do, the spirit world are aware that that is how you work? So that is what they are bringing to you in that way because it's structured.
Yeah, I think anything's relationship based though, isn't it? So I've lived in this house now for about 4 years. Is it 4 years, Carol? Over 3 years. I've been in there 3 years. Now, I don't know how it happened, but every other Wednesday, I got a job of taking the bins down to the fucking curb. And we never discussed this. I don't know how I ended up with that responsibility of taking the bins down. But now apparently it's my job. And that's because it's like a brown paper bag gets left on the side and that's got to go in the compost bin, And I know that when I see that bag, I need to go and put that in the bin because if I don't go and put it in the bin, it doesn't go in the bin. And so it's just that relationship that's developed over time. As one example, you'll have a million examples with you, your partner, the viewers and the people that live in their homes and, or at work. It's just unspoken contracts were built through behavioral patterns. And that is the relationship I've built with the spirit world. I know, and I speak a lot about the intelligence of the spirit world. Why wouldn't they bring it structured? Why wouldn't they bring it layered? Why wouldn't they say the things that you need to know and hear about? Why wouldn't they? And so the answer there, I can save everyone a long time thinking about it. You're the problem. And I don't like that. I don't like being the problem. So I'm going to do everything I can to not be the problem, which means, Charlie, ego, get in your crate. You're at work now. You're not allowed to play up. You can play out later. And then I finish my dem, I finish my reads, I finish my teaching, and everything winds down. And then I'm an idiot. I allow the ego out the crate. You're allowed to go be a fool, go be an idiot, go wind Carol up as much as you can.
How does one learn to put the ego in the crate?
Because the ego's the battle, isn't it? So I don't like the battle. I can tell you when it happened as well. I remember the day where I was. I was stood in a shop and there was, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 people in a queue. And I was in some little back village somewhere, and the woman went, "Hiya, John. How's Jeanette getting on?" And he's like, "Yeah, she had the doctors," and he leant on the counter, and I'm like person 7. And so I was like, "Mate, I'm not being rude, but I'm in a rush. So, like, by all means, stop and have your conversation there, but please serve the people that are waiting." And I, because it was just whirling round in my mind, like, say something, say something, say something, say something. So he weren't bothered. The woman that he was talking to, she was bothered. I got the face, I got the look, but she served people, and the person behind me went, "Thanks for that." And I went home and I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad I didn't come home and say to girl, I should have said this, I should have done that, I should have." And then I was going through Tesco, and there was this couple talking to a couple Saturday morning in the doorway with trolleys. I said to him, "Mate, I just don't get people. So can you explain to me what on earth your thought process was to stand in the supermarket doorway on the busiest day of the week and you think you're not in the way? Can you just tell me what your thought process is? Because the toothpaste aisle will be empty. Why don't you have a conversation up there?" And I felt good for it. I wasn't arguing with myself. Like, I should have said something. I should have done something. I should have been, I should have spoke up. I should have highlighted something. Anyway, I do my weekly shop and I get to the toothpaste aisle and these 4 people are stood there. and I said to them, "Have you bothered anyone here?" And they were like, "No." And I was like, I weren't being rude. It's just like, now you can have your conversation and no one's being held up or being put in an awkward position. And he went, no, I totally get it, mate. And I just said to myself at that point, I'm not having that annoying voice in my head go off all night, every night. I'm not doing it anymore. And so whenever it went off, I just spoke my truth. Yeah. And the ego just kind of like backed off. Now, I'm an idiot. If I'm fishing and I do the perfect cast, I'm telling Carol I'm the greatest in the world. Oh, my God.
And then she's telling you for it to get back in the cage.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, Charlie's here, is he? Charlie's back." So
I bet that winds you up. Then all of a sudden, the antenna's going up.
It's the banter, isn't it? It's the banter. But you've just got to treat it like it's like a pet dog. They need walking. It needs nurturing. It needs discipline. And your ego needs all of those things. So it needs to come out. No point denying it's there. You've got one. No point denying it. But it's got to be under control. Let it out after your dems and your reads.
I'm becoming much more aware of it and the unhelpfulness of it and how it needs to shut the bloody hell up at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to ask, in the time we have remaining, so I love what you're saying about switching on, simplicity of it, being there, on demand, not caring. What should I be doing to develop myself then in this? Because at the moment I'm sitting down, like many of us are, trying to, trying, the bloody word trying, sitting there to feel spirit, sit in the power, whatever you want to call it. What do you feel we should be doing that is developing us? What have you learned in that area?
As part of that team dynamic? Like, what should people be doing to become better instruments, you mean?
Yes.
I think what people are doing is like, as a real generic, so you understand the line or the train of thought that I'm trying to put you onto, is that as that paper bag goes into recycling, is an unspoken contract. It's like, I learned through behavioural patterns that it's my job to walk that down to the end of the road. And now it's set in stone now. Now the bag gets left on the same spot and I go in the bin. And what mediums are doing is they're teaching their team on what they are prepared to do and what they're not prepared to do. They're teaching them all the time. Now, what will happen is, as a very generic one, they'll say things like if we spoke it through and you would say to me, with your person, Charlie, I know I need to talk about hospital appointments. And I'll say to you, how did you get that? And you would say, I saw a nurse. And I would say to you, then why didn't you say nurse? And you would say, well, I assume it was about...
Yes, I would say that. And that's probably how it comes across a lot of the time with my mediumship at the moment. I'm sort of getting that, goes up to the brain, tries to bloody interpret it.
Exactly. But then on a second breath, you'll be like, right, I'm seeing what he does in his spare time. And I think this guy liked fishing. And I would say to you, what made you say that? And you'd go, because I saw water. And I'd say, well, why didn't you say water? And so what you're doing in that moment in the relationship is you're teaching the spirit world, if you give me water, I'm going to say fishing. If you give me nurse, I'm going to say hospital appointment.
It's very true.
And then in the second breath, after you're done, when it's gone a little bit wrong, you'll go home and you'll be like, what are you lot doing? Why don't you just give me the thing you want me to say? And I just imagine the spirit world going, we do give you the thing we want you to say, but you keep changing it. So you'll see a bar stool and you'll say, this man liked drinking. And that's not correct. But the client will go, oh no. But I bet you if you went, well, actually, you showed me a bar stool. Oh, a bar stool. Then, yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about. And
yeah, that is happening at times because I'm trying to play, and it's learning to get out the way.
Exactly, but for the difference between a beginner, an intermediate, and a professional is a beginner would go, man, bar stool, nurse, water. And then intermediate, they've watched a few TV shows, they've read a few books, they've been on a course at the Arthur Findlay. And they'll say, and now the gentleman's making me aware of the hospital appointments he had. Then I know that he liked and spent the weekends doing fishing. Same thing, the nurse, the water, the bar stool. And I know this man liked to drink. No. So beginner is bland, nothing, no showmanship, no presentation. But then you're learning that it needs to sound a little bit better. So you start embellishing, you start adding a word or two here and there, and it goes wrong. Now, oh my God, what's happening? I've got to fix it all. And then the professional will say the thing that they're receiving exactly as they are, but they'll make it sound different. So now with mum, she's making me aware of the nurse that I need to talk about. And the client will go, oh, she was lovely, that nurse. She was lovely. And now she draws my attention to this place, this body of water. Oh my God, I love that place. We went there as kids. Now, what happens at that point is that client goes away and tells everyone, I told them about the holiday where they went away as a kid. And I told them about the nursing coming into the homes. I didn't. The power of the word is in the nurse, and I say nurse, and the power ignites the memory. Now, the client goes on memory, and you'll have that yourself. You'll hear a song, and you'll be teleported back in time to that time when life was great. And it would be the first beat of that song, and you are reliving memories in layered form. And so as I talk about the nurse, yes, the next layer would come in. I see your home. Oh, yeah, she come around the house quite a lot. Now she's talking about, and I'm saying exactly what I'm given. Exactly. I don't embellish it. I don't leave anything out. I say exactly what I got. And my hit rate went through the roof. And what I learned was, I don't know who you are. I don't know who they are, and I'm trying to make the story sound good for Charlie. What an idiot.
You're such a good teacher because you keep it so real and say this in the realest way possible. I think to myself, if you was a car and it was a speedometer, how many readings have you done now to acquire this way of working and seeing it? So many.
I would hate to count them up. I know. I did do the dems. I counted up the dems. I've done over 3,500 public dems now. I did count them up because, and that's with Carol's record. So it's a lot of dems. I've done a lot of dems. Yeah. So, but readings, I'd be scared to to count up the hours locked in a room on a monitor or with a little recording unit. It's terrifying.
It's just fascinating, and I think it's really helped me this hour as well, because I would say I'm in that place at the moment. When you described it, it was making me laugh there, because I think I'm in between intermediate and advanced. Because I'm starting to understand it is coming to me. I'm starting to realise that I am the problem here. Get the hell out of the way. But I've probably got elements of the showmanship. This is what I said last night, Charlie, even when I did my dem. I said, I probably didn't give the best evidence, but I certainly was the best showman.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people need training for showmen, whereas you'll do it naturally. So where people would fall behind in development, you would be leaps and bounds ahead.
Yeah.
And so and vice versa, isn't it? And so I see it very much like children, like I grew up with my kids, and my daughter was walking like down the shop with me at 10 months. Wow. And her cousin wasn't walking until 2.5 years old. But they were exactly the same when they went to primary school. They were on, everything was all caught up, and they were all at the same level. And I think there is a transition of like puberty in the human, where you go from like annoying young male to then adulthood and responsibilities, and there's this skip in maturity. You shouldn't be filling your belly with chocolate when the partner's been cooking all day, or roasting or whatever. You're grown up enough to go, I want the chocolate, but I shouldn't have it. Dinner's on its way. As a kid, you're like, I'll eat the chocolate and the dinner, and you ruin it.
Well, yeah, some people age like a fine wine, and others like a sort of curry that's been out on the side for too long. I'd like to think I'm sort of coming into the fine wine territory. It's probably a bit like a smelly old Stilton at times, but that's still valuable too, Charlie.
I think it is. And I just think there is this shift in maturity in mediumship where you go, get over yourself, get out of the way. It's not about you.
Indeed.
It's about them.
Well, I think the message of today, it really is get out the way. It really is. And stop caring as well.
Yeah, well, invest in yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So go on then. It's been a blast, Charlie Kelly. It's lovely to see you. If you want to, also, your last episode was really good, so take a listen to that. Charlie's YouTube link will be in the description. Do us the honour of a final thought today, Charlie.
A final thought today, I think we've covered on everything that we've been doing there. I think if you really want to excel, and it's probably mediums or developing mediums that are watching a podcast or listening to a podcast like this, I would really try and let go of what you think mediumship is, because you will hear my advice or ways of doing stuff, and you'll try and squeeze that into your way of working. And it took me 15 years to realize that those ways don't work in my way of working. So I had to kind of loosen the parameters up. So just kind of go into mediumship as naively as you did in the beginning, without the pressures on self, and you will enjoy it more. You'll see what I'm talking about, so you'll love the work a lot more, and it will just reignite that flame. So
there's something really in that, because the first ever reading I did on the platform, the first ever time, I just walked up there, didn't give a crap, didn't even realise what I was doing the first time I went on one of these courses. It was one of the best readings. I spent 3 years. I still couldn't do one better than that.
Yeah. Expectation.
Point in case.
Yeah. Expectation, parameters, so you're trying to replicate. So just enjoy it. I see too many people stressing about the thing that I love most in the world, so like, enjoy it. Love it.
Well, thank you for coming on to the Soul Sync. It's been lovely.
My pleasure.